Hello and welcome back to another episode of Klartext Triathlon, today with the Norwegian Norseman winner Hans Christian Tungesvik. And now, first of all, awaits you a small commercial break. Today's podcast is presented by the OMNi-BiOTiC 3 Series 2024. Get ready for a new highlight in the triathlon race calendar. Following the great success of the OMNi-BiOTiC Upland Triathlon, which became a fixed event in the racing calendar with over 1,300 athletes in 2023, the series expands on August the 25th, 2024 with an exciting race in Graz. The second largest city in Austria will once again be the stage for the triathlon, where professionals in the PTO Silver event with live broadcasting and a $25,000 prize pool will compete alongside all age groupers for the finisher medals. Experience swimming downstream in the Mur River, cycling on a completely closed route through an idyllic landscape, and the half marathon in the heart of Graz. An unforgettable triathlon experience is guaranteed. Under the motto, by athletes for athletes, you, the athletes, take center stage with fair entry fees, a fantastic event venue, exclusive goodies for all participants, and a lively after-race party. The OMNi-BiOTiC Graz Triathlon will be the highlight of the year. For our listeners, we have something special. Secure one of the 300 spots for both middle-distance races at the combo price of only €300 while supplies last. And for your perfect race preparation, use the code Klartext20 for a whopping 20% discount on Omni Power Race Nutrition. Visit omni-power.com and don't miss out on this offer. End of commercial break.
Welcome back on Klartext Triathlon with our next international guest. And I'm very delighted to have a Norwegian fellow on board, because the last couple of years I actually fell in love a lot with the country and also the people from Norway. But before I introduce you, I think you have to tell me how to pronounce your name correctly, because otherwise I will do the first big mistake before we even started. I would say it's Hans Christian Tungesvik. Is that partly correct? Or
it's very, very close. Hans Christian Tungesvik. So that's acceptable, more than acceptable.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so we had the pleasure to race actually last weekend at the Winter Triathlon World Championship in a triathlon in Duathlon. There was a full weekend of racing, 3 races in total, starting on Friday with the Duathlon, Saturday with the triathlon, and on Sunday closing in with the mixed relay. I'd say we just head back to this weekend before we start over with your whole triathlon career, because it happened so recently. Can you take us back into last weekend? How were your experiences? Were you happy with your performances? And what were maybe also some fun facts about the whole trip or about the race? Because I think there were some things that are worth a mention as well.
Yeah, it's true. It was a really eventful and interesting and fun weekend in the Italian mountains. For me, result-wise, it was a very good weekend. I came away with the gold on the duathlon, silver in the triathlon, and then a bronze in the mixed relay. So one of each medal, the complete medal collection. Was very satisfied with that. Of course, if the weekend would have been completely perfect, I would also have been able to catch up with Franco Pesavento, the guy who won the triathlon, also on the last skiing leg. But other than that, it was as perfect as it could be. So very, very happy and satisfied.
The triathlon was your A race of the whole weekend, or did all these events matter equally to you?
I would say that the triathlon maybe is the A race. It feels like the A race because it is actually winter triathlon that we are doing, and it's the longest race, the one that incorporates all the disciplines. But I've never really succeeded properly in the duathlon before, so that was also a goal of mine to actually nail that one for once. So it was cool that kind of the result was mixed up a bit compared to last year. Yeah, I'm equally satisfied with both them races.
Oh, that's nice to hear. So, how was your lead up to those races? Were you happy with the preparation, or was it a bit bumpy? Or did you know that you were fully up there to be competitive?
I felt like the preparation period was a bit, the specific at least, preparation period was a bit short. I've had some running injuries back and forth throughout the whole autumn, so I have barely been running. I think I've averaged 10, 15 kilometers of running every week since New Year's, but luckily, it's not a race where you have to run too many kilometers. So just a good form and good shape gets you quite far. And also, I was a bit concerned about the altitude because I arrived up there at 1,500 meters above sea level on Wednesday, and first race day was Friday, so I was a bit concerned how that would play out. And on on the day before the first race, I felt so rubbish being out and warming up and testing the cross country course. It felt just insanely hard. So I was quite nervous going into the race with that feeling, but the altitude is the same for everyone, so I guess it's just how it is when it's a bit high.
Yeah, but I can totally relate to that because in 21, when I first came up to Andorra, I came out of a training camp from Lanzarote, which is also pretty much on sea level. I guess the place where you live in Norway isn't that much about sea level either, so it gets you very hard. And but still you were able to perform, and can also tell that you came with a great team backing you up. I think you had 2 guys waxing your skis and taking care of most of the things you don't want to take care as an athlete. And so totally deserved because when you take things serious, you should also be rewarded for that. Other than that, the conditions changed a lot over the weekend. Would you say it played a role as well? Because especially on Friday was very icy on the cross-country track. Would you say you were in favor of these conditions, or would you have rather liked it with the bit of deeper snow?
That's it's a very good point. Conditions were quite interesting, and they looked very uncertain all the days leading up to the weekend. So that was a big question mark. How would the conditions actually be on Friday on the duathlon? The conditions definitely played in my favor because the cross country tracks were quite icy, as you say, and it was a bit challenging to actually keep your balance and stay on your feet and be able to push some good power down into the ground. So, and also in the high speed sections going downhill, I think I had a big advantage actually being brought up skiing. So that was it felt like an advantage to me. I think that played in my favor. But
you definitely got a lot of kudos for that, because when Franco finished, he just said, "Yeah, the Norwegian guy just was crazy on the ski. He was just going full send down the hill. I don't know, he beat that."
Yeah. Yeah, I think that was definitely one of the important things that that pushed that gold medal in my favor. But then again, on Saturday with throughout the whole weekend with the lack of snow, also meaning that 60-70% of the bike course would be outside of snow, but on dirt and grass and a bit more bumpy bumpy surface than it normally would on snow. That was definitely not an advantage for me because I never do mountain bike riding, and I didn't bring a bike that had the proper fork and suspension. So that's an area where I lost quite a lot of time on the triathlon. So that was a weakness for me. So, and that's one of the interesting things I think about this sport is that those conditions actually play quite a big part, because there are 3 different disciplines. You can have so different conditions throughout those disciplines, and those differences will always play in someone's favors, and you never really know how it's going to be. If we would have had those snowy conditions that we got the days after the race, the bike leg would have been very interesting, with probably quite a lot of loose snow that would probably have played in someone else's favor again. So there's always quite a big question mark to when you're going into these championships. How will the conditions be, and who will benefit from them?
Yeah, but that makes it also interesting, and also fair in a kind of way, because you can never say beforehand who's gonna win the race, or who's like the one to beat, because when you have I don't know, across track and field races, it's pretty clear most of the time who's gonna win the race. Or also in road triathlon, I mean, there's not a lot of big surprises most of the time, because it's just pretty straightforward racing. But that's so special about winter triathlon, as you said. And you also need the right material. You probably didn't have the perfect bike for these conditions, but if it been snowy, your bike would have been much better. So next year it's probably gonna look a lot different again. Hopefully it's gonna be back in Norway. Maybe you have some more insights about that, but I'm really pressing my thumbs to get a real winter triathlon again. I mean, this time the organizers obviously did the best they could, and they still had a really, really good cross-country skiing track in the end, and did some artificial snow, and groomed very, very well the next days. And I think it was actually pretty cool also to have a run and bike course a bit outside of snow, because it was still technical, and mixed the race up a bit on that side. So we definitely saw that those kinds of events are possible, even if there's not perfect snow conditions. So maybe also a little bit a glimpse of hope for the future, to maybe eventually become Olympic one day. I guess it's like a small dream of every one of us competing winter triathlon on this level. But we will see. I actually just saw a documentary about the Olympics, the upcoming ones in Italy. And they actually said these Olympics are going to be the most sustainable ones ever. But they already started taking in big projects again. So you're going to indulge above, I don't know, 2 or 3 billion euros in total. And in the end, it doesn't really have to do anything with sustainability, because even the biathlon stadium and they have in Antholz was actually perfect for those kinds of events they're going to host there. But still, they're rebuilding everything, like really destroying the nature up there. installing a new pool for artificial snow, and I don't know, it just looked terrible, and the impact is so big again, and it seems you can't really change people and you can't really change money, but maybe we have a chance in saying, okay, at least the sport itself is kind of sustainable. You don't really need much. I mean, even in China, we just had this competition in a park, and okay, they had to groom the cross-country track, but other than that, we just took everything that was there before already, and for the other sports, it looks a bit different. Obviously, you can just X out skiing, or I mean, winter sports that have been growing with the Olympics ever since. But I think it's time to definitely rethink the whole thing a little bit, and interesting how it's gonna be in the future. All right, it was a little bit of a detour. Other than that, what were your most memorable takeaways from the event, and what were some things that you would like to forget?
Well, I think there is one countryman of yours that is going to be one of the most memorable things from the trip. The famous legend in the triathlon sport, the rabbit farmer Muki, traveling around and racing, probably 80 years old, and making cups with pictures of the finishers. So getting hold of one of those cups was one of the more memorable
You
things.
actually got a cup?
I got a cup.
Oh, nice.
That's true. With a picture of the podium from the duathlon, with
cool.
with the top three names of the top three engraved. So that was good.
Yeah, Mookie is definitely a person who also makes this sport kind of more worthwhile, because I mean, without him it would also be kind of boring, too much road triathlon, too predictable everything, because you never know what this guy is up to next. And as you just said, he was a rabbit farmer before, and apparently his rabbit farming didn't go that well anymore, so he switched business, and now he's selling cups with pictures of the athletes competing. And actually, my first encounter with Mookie this time was when I was entering the wax room at the competition area, and I saw him that he was boiling some water, and the water looked pretty dirty. So at the end, I realized that he was cooking some sausages in this tea boiler. But anyways, when I was approaching him, I was talking to German I was talking German to him, and first he was fully focused on his water boiling, but then he turned around and saw who I was, and then he was like out of his mind, and he was going crazy, and then forgot his water, and he was spilling it all over the place, which was leading to a power cut. So the whole building was without light and electricity, leaving your wax companions in the dark for like half an hour, until someone from the maintenance came to fix it all again. But yeah, there was a classic Mookie moment, and half an hour later, like, he was gone when the power was cut, so he didn't care about that. But then he came back with his printer, and then he was printing pictures for his cups pretty much the whole night, rather than preparing for the competition or think about anything else. His only concern was how he would get all these cups printed, and just seeing him with this old printer in the waxing room was so hilarious. Yeah, and anything else that struck your mind, or that you would say that's something to take away, positive or negative?
No, I think, well, it's this time around we were actually the biggest I think group from Norway traveling together. We were both elite athletes and also age groupers, and that was really a lot of fun traveling together. Of course, it's it's more fun. It's more social. You share the highs and lows, and you have really a team spirit when doing that. And also having the age groupers cheering for us when we were racing, and the opposite way around when they were racing. It just adds a flavor to the experience. So really, really cool that we were actually able to gather 14, 15 people traveling with the support team and athletes and everyone. So that makes the whole experience something to really look forward to throughout the year, and not only kind of a solo experience.
Yeah, I think that's what's special about this Winter Triathlon community. Everyone knows each other. There's hardly like a lot of new people coming to these races, other than in road triathlons, or when I was also still actively racing road. There were like sometimes 30, 40 professionals that I've never heard of. And when you come to Winter Triathlon, you know your competitors, and we get along really well, and always have a really good time. So also said it makes it really special. Yeah, because I have one thing in mind, like at the end of the race, it kind of got hectic for you. Also then the departure. But do you remember that moment when you actually wanted to leave, and you realized your bike was gone?
Yes, that was an interesting one. I thought I would not put that person on the spot, but I think,
You don't have to call out anyone, but the story is, I think, pretty special. So I'd say we definitely could have a talk about that.
Yeah, it was quite interesting because when I after the elite races on Sunday, the age groupers were racing their triathlon distance, and I had finished my race. I'd put my bike in the waxing room, so all my stuff was there, and we were out cheering for the age groupers. And coming back from cheering, suddenly my bike was gone, and I didn't know where it was at all. So I started searching a bit, and quite quickly after I started searching, suddenly a random guy came into the waxing room with my bike in his hand, telling me that, hey, is this your bike? Yeah, I just borrowed it because mine, I had a puncture, so I just left my bike in transition, and I just ran and took the first bike I found.
Obviously, he's gonna take the bike of the Winter Triathlon world champion, of course, because there's not a worse bike than that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit was an interesting feeling and experience. Of course, I'm happy that it enabled him to finish, but in my book, it's a bit strange to just go and serve yourself with the bike that stands there.
Definitely, yeah. But do you know if he had this puncture during the race or before the race?
That was during the race, so it was after 2 out of 5 laps. So
so he also left the race course to steal your bike, so to say.
Yeah, definitely. And
actually, 2 years cool.
Yeah, but to be specific, it's actually not allowed even to change bikes. So you have to have you have to fix the puncture if you're
exactly
to be able to continue. So quite some different things to take out of that story, but interesting nonetheless.
All right, then let's close down the Winter Triathlon weekend. Maybe with your departure, that's also one last funny story, because as we said before, during the weekend there was not really much snow, but they made the best out of it. But really, literally, once the event was over, it started snowing like hell. So Sunday night, there was a big storm coming in, and over the night it had snowed already. Probably 20 centimeters of fresh snow, which was also not quite in your favor because you had rental cars, and I think they were not equipped very well. So how was your departure going?
Yeah, that's very true. We rented cars in Milano with summer tires. which is not really suited for going down quite steep hills in 20 centimeters of fresh snow. So we had luckily there was some chains and some snow socks in the cars, so we used them to the best of our ability, but the snow socks, they got torn quite quickly after 10 minutes going downhill, and the snow chains were not really complete, so they for the half hour we had to drive with chains. We were sitting in the car with the sound dunk 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 for every rotation of the wheel. So yeah, it was an interesting trip back home, but yeah, we took it easy and got down safely at least. Even though quite a lot of the passengers were a bit nervous.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah, Torino might have been a little bit a better option, because I think they're a bit more used to alpine conditions rather than the people from Milano. They don't probably even know what snow is, or don't want to know what snow is. But yeah, I mean, it should always be a little bit of an adventure too, those kinds of trips. So yeah, in the end, what counts is that everyone made it home safe and sound, and yeah. Pretty exciting weekend. So we've covered all of that now, and now, of course, we want to know something about your own story. So take us back in how it all started, because before you did Winter Triathlon, you were also really focusing on road triathlon, or different kinds of triathlon. I don't know if you've done cross triathlon as well, but yeah, just take us back to the beginnings of your endurance athlete's career.
Yeah, so I started my endurance career basically as a cross country skier, as basically every active youth in Norway doing cross country skiing. Mostly due to my father, who was very interested.
When did
so I
you
started
start?
at the age of 8-ish, around that. And I really liked it, so kind of got, well, it was just for fun until I was 13, 14, but then it started to become a bit more competitive. So
Are
I
there
got
actually
kind of,
really competitions for those young children? Because I've heard that in Norway it's not meant to be competitive until the age of, I don't know, 13, 14, as you just said. So before that, it should be very playful and but not really with focusing on competition too much. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. They try to kind of make the play in the sport the most important thing, as long as possible, basically. So there are races for ages from 8 and up, but there are result lists, but they aren't sorted from the fastest one and downwards. They are just all the competitors are named, and their time is listed, but it's not ranked. So no one can, well, unless you try to search for it, it's not easy to see who is the winner. So, but of course, kids at 10 years old, lots of them are quite competitive, so they go into they search the results list for what placement they got. But the idea is at least that it's the focus should be having fun and playing in the snow rather than winning at that age.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, we've seen a lot of different examples here in Germany, like parents shouting for the children to win. I mean, starting at the age of 5 or something, and as you just said, it should be really about the joy of sport and being active together. And I think it makes such a big difference also in the evolution of young children, because when they get competitive too early, they will very quickly lose their passion for the sports. And I think that's also one of the secrets of the Norwegians, that they just have so much passion for sport, and have such a great community in sports. And that's what I also really learned to love in your country. Also, coming there as a tourist and being active out there, it's really just cool to see people being out there and having such a good time, seeing everyone smiling and greeting, and it also has a very positive impact on the whole society. All right, sorry for interrupting you. You said at the age of 13, it still things got a bit more competitive for you then.
That's true. So then I, as you say, a bit more competitive, a bit more serious, gradually throughout the youth. And of course, in cross-country skiing, the last 4 years, 17, 18, 19, and 20 are the junior years in within the sport. So I completed my junior years in cross-country skiing, and that's for many people kind of a breaking point if you really want to go for it and try to make it as a senior, which then the level suddenly just bumps up quite a lot. And I didn't really have that level that it would. It looked realistic to get to that level very soon. So I decided to quit skiing on a kind of a competitive level. Started studying, or went into the military for 1 year, then started studying. But I always, during my cross country career, I always enjoyed kind of the varied training, both running, cycling during the summer, roller skiing during the summer, doing a little bit of everything instead of only doing the same thing over and over. And I also had, because my family has a cabin in the area where Norseman Extreme Triathlon has its finish. So I had also been out a couple of times seeing these athletes climbing towards the finish line. And that was also something I had in the back of my mind, that it would be really cool to someday finish that race, even though I didn't know how to swim, basically. So, but then during my university years in Norway, I kind of by coincidence they had this club or university club championship in triathlon. So I thought, well, that's a nice opportunity to at least try the sport. Was the only one without the wetsuit, because that didn't strike me that would be a good idea in in 15 degrees water in quite far up north in Norway. So I kind of hyperventilated myself through the first 400 meters of swimming. Was dead last by a lot, but I got through it. And then, of course, biking and running went a bit better. And that was kind of the start, even though it was, the swimming at least was painful. There was some...
In many ways.
Yeah, definitely. But there was some satisfaction to actually managing or performing 3 sports in one. That gave me some sense of being able to cope with 3 different disciplines at the same time. So that was what started my interest in triathlon. And then after that, I decided, okay, I want to learn how to swim so that I can do some longer distances, and then gradually, season by season, longer distances. This was in 2013 where I tried the first one. And then I think the following year I tried a 70.3 distance. Then the following year I did my first full distance in Sweden, in Kalmar. And
as a professional already, or as an age grouper?
No, age grouper. So then I was in the youngest age group, 18 to 24, and I didn't really know. I had heard of this Ironman Hawaii thing, but I actually qualified for Hawaii on this first Ironman, and I was like, okay, shit, now I have the option to go. Will I ever get that opportunity again? Okay, let's do it. I went there. It was a really cool experience, but it was also a really humbling experience with the heat and humidity and everything that goes with the Ironman and Kona. But that was also the experience that made me think that, okay, I have to come back here and I have to really do this properly. So then I decided that next year I would really go for qualifying for Kona and try to nail the competition there. So then in 2016 I went to Ironman Nice, qualified in the same age group there, and then actually had. I had an ambition that in Kona, like on a really, really good day, it could be possible with top 5. But I actually turned out winning the age group,
Wow.
which was super surprising and really a big experience. So was so cool. I had a perfect day. Everything went my way. And that was kind of the one result or the one performance that made me understand that, okay, there is some potential here to be able to compete also as a pro.
The year after you started as a professional already, or did you give yourself like a year in between just for training and fine tuning things, or was this the moment where you said, okay, from next year on things gonna change drastically?
Yeah, so I actually it was in 2016 that I won my age group in Kona. But it was throughout 2017 that I decided, okay, next year I'm gonna do it professionally. Also because I finished my studies during that year, and I was a bit unsure what I would do. I finished mechanical engineering, so I actually started working as a mechanical engineer, but originally bad luck, but it turned very good for me, because the company I worked for, after I started working there, 3 weeks after I started working there, they decided to lay off quite a lot of people, meaning that all of these all employees were offered these finishing packages, meaning half a year to a year salary after having finished their position. So
Well, if
that
that's
was,
not an
for
opportunity,
me,
I don't know what's a better opportunity.
exactly. So that was pure luck, but really the opportunity that gave me the option to try out the professional life without too much risk, and seeing if I firstly enjoyed it and also was able to get kind of a financial situation in place that was sustainable over some time. Yeah, so super lucky with that whole situation.
And did you already have sponsors at that point, or did you get them like during the first years already, or how was the situation there?
I had some equipment sponsors, but nothing that paid anything. So that was what I kind of worked on and worked with during that half year, where I was paid, to actually get some sponsors that would provide some income as well, not only bikes and running shoes.
Yeah, but I mean, for a start, that's actually a good setup to have some good material, that it is also competitive, and have some financial backup. So, how were your first professional races then?
Yeah, they were a bit hard. Of course, my coach was quite tried to prepare me mentally that it was going to be hard, and it was going to be a very different experience from kind of being up there competing at the top level in age group. And he was very right about that, especially on, because I did mostly 70.3 races in the beginning. and they're just the swim speed of those guys were just on a completely different planet than I was, because I was still kind of learning how to swim, and so I was more or less dead last in all the swim legs in these triathlons. So it was kind of mentally challenging, but also motivating in a way that I saw that if I would just get my swim right, I saw that my bike and run was not that far away from those good guys. So it was also motivating, and I also obviously knew and understood that I was a newcomer in this, and many of the ones I was competing with had been doing this for many years. So I think I still managed to stay positive about it, but it was quite humbling, and just seeing that, okay, I'm nothing special.
But how was your tactics after that? So did you hit the pool like crazy, or did you say okay, I'm gonna search for races that suit my abilities a bit better?
It was a bit of both, but I think I tried to swim quite a lot, but and I tried to get into some swim clubs or similar here in Norway, but triathlon clubs are almost non-existing here, so that was not easy. So I tried to get into some pure swimming clubs, but the proper level would be like with the girls of 13 years old, and I wasn't allowed to join them. So it was kind of hard. So I had to just swim a lot on my own, try to have some technique training with some coaches here and there. So it was quite a long process, but slowly but steadily I improved. But it was a patience game. I would have loved it to happen a bit faster.
Yeah, I mean, we had that before we started the podcast. It's very similar to cross country skiing when you don't learn it as in your early childhood. It makes things very difficult, and for swimming, unfortunately, it's very much the same. But I admire that you still tried because I know how frustrating it is when you put so much effort in it, but don't really get anywhere. And I think it paid really off the years coming after that. And I think your first really big performances were already in the year before you won the Norseman, right? Or was it after you won Norseman? Because you also had some good results at long distance races in Europe. So seemed like you found the button to push to be at least competitive on the swim, and then nailing it on the bike and on the run.
Yeah, but it's true as you say. I in addition to, of course, working with my swim, I definitely tried to find and go for the competitions where the swim would be less of a critical factor, meaning the courses with mostly hilly bike courses, tough, challenging bike courses, but also courses with hilly runs would suit me better. And then, of course, being a Norwegian, knowing the Norseman from before, that was a big motivation for me to try to first complete it and then perform on a high level at it. So I competed in Norseman in 2016 and 17, which both years were kind of good learning experience. I performed quite well, but still felt that I have quite a lot potential also to nail it better, due to, of course, nutrition, clothing. There are lots of challenges to that race that you don't really meet in many other races. But then, as you said, in 2019 was kind of the year where I really devoted myself to Norseman, and I basically said to myself that if all of the races goes shit this year, but Norseman is a success, then the season is a success by definition. So yeah, the whole race plan was prepared to make me able to perform in Norseman. Training camps, specific sessions, and so forth. They were very, very Norseman specific, basically the whole year. And it turned out really, really good in 2019. It was a tight battle with Alan Hovda, who had won the race, I think, 3 times before. So he was seen as the King of Norseman. Really, really tough nail. And we were fighting quite closely on the swim. We were even into T1. I biked a bit better than him, so 3 minutes before him into T2. Then he overtook me after 15k and got ahead of me with 3 minutes ish. And then we kept that distance 2-3 minutes, going up this infamous zombie hill. And I pushed and pushed and pushed and never seemed to be able to catch him. And then the last 4 or 5 kilometers is on really rocky trail going towards this Mount Gaustad. It's very open, so you can see quite far, but I was never able to see him. So with 10 minutes to go, I told my support crew, which was my brother and a friend, that second place is also good. We have to be happy about that. And then 2 minutes after, I looked up and I saw this guy in a white triathlon suit being so tired, really like using his arms on his knees, trying to crawl up this quite steep mountain. And I just thought, okay, if you will ever have a chance to win Norseman, it's now you really got to dig deep. So I did that and really like rushed with adrenaline, sprinted as quickly as I could, which I've looked at some footage after. Did not look like sprinting, but felt like sprinting.
Well, you have to say that it was the last 2 kilometers of an Ironman distance, and also, as you said before, always only just 2 to 3 minutes dividing you throughout the whole race on such a long distance is really something. So it really sounded like a close battle, and each and every one of you knew exactly what to do. But let's go to the happy ending.
Yeah. So then he really hit the wall from I'm not sure if it was a muscular or energy deficit but he was completely empty, and I overtook him then 150 meters from the finish line in a 10-hour race, that's small margins. So and it just emotionally it was just a crazy experience. Then having kind of accepted that I would be number 2, and then really seeing the opportunity, grabbing it and crossing the finish line first with lots of friends and family on the top, my grandmother also there, and it was that was just the biggest experience I've had in sport by far.
Yeah, definitely. And Norseman has definitely also gathered some reputation over the last years. It was also one of the last races Sebastian Kienle did on his farewell tour. And it's just a very iconic race. I also remember seeing it for the first time in a German triathletes magazine, and just seeing these pictures outside of the fjord where they had these big fires. And I think back in the days there was still with an Australian exit, wasn't it? That the swim was divided, so you were going
No,
on.
it's never been an Australian exit, but they have always been using a huge bonfire on shore as kind of the sighting point. Because
Okay. Yes.
you start far out in the fjord, and it's dark when you start. So the only thing you
Yeah.
can basically sight for is that big bonfire.
Okay. I thought they used the fire for warming up the people.
Okay, no. Yeah, but
Yeah,
they.
but then
I think people would have appreciated it because quite a lot of people find it pretty cold.
yeah, what is the water temperature on the swim?
Varies between 11 and 15 degrees normally.
Yeah, that's definitely anything other than warm. But this time you were using a wetsuit, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but then also this jump from the ferry into the pitch dark, swimming back to shore, and then this ride through the Norwegian outback, and yeah, the run up this top of the hill, pretty much the last 5 or 6 kilometers really being technical trail running, makes it really unique and combines so many different aspects of endurance sports. It's not enough to just be able to push a lot of watts or to run fast or to swim fast. But yeah, as you said before, you also have to nail your nutrition. You have to get your clothing right, and I think you also need someone to go with you on the run, don't you? Pretty much from the start, or just the last kilometers up the hill.
It's only required to have someone with you the last 5 kilometers on the climb, but it's a huge advantage if you can have someone run with you from bottom of Zombie Hill, which is then the last 17 kilometers, both for morale and for motivation, but also being able to give you drinks and gels and whatever you need when you need it. You don't have to wait for the next aid station or whatever. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to when you sign up for the race. So I'll be your supporter and show you around and make you prepared for the race.
Yeah, if that's not a reason, then I don't know why. What else I still need to sign up. But yeah, it's definitely a very very far up on my bucket list. And even though today I made a post that I'm pretty much done with road triathlon, I don't really think it's road triathlon in that sense, but more like adventure racing, and I'm definitely still in for that. So sounds very good, and I definitely have a person by my side who knows this race very well, and yeah, definitely great memories. Yeah, I really had some goosebumps when you told your story now, because I also had the pleasure once not to win, but to came second at a race in my hometown, which was also very special for me. It was the German long distance championships in 2017. So yeah, almost the same year as you won Norseman. Well, it was 2 years later. But you also said before that 2013 was your first professional year, if I remember correctly. So there's a lot of parallels, and yeah, to sort of close it up at Norseman event would also be really cool in the future. All right. We've had that, but that was not your last professional race. Then was it, or did you say, okay, now I've pretty much accomplished the biggest goal in my life. Now I'm done with professional racing, or was it motivation to go even beyond?
No, it was not definitely not the case that I closed the chapter there. When I started triathlon, well, professionally in 2018, I decided that okay, if I'm really gonna give this a shot, I should at least give it 3 years, because I'm never gonna get anywhere just by doing this seriously for 1 year. So I gave myself at least 3 years, meaning that I had one more 20 at least, so 2020 season, and of course was very motivated by this race. Then I did Ironman Florida, I think, the same autumn. Did quite okay, but died a little bit on the run there. And then suddenly during that winter, COVID came. So meaning basically the whole following year would be almost without any races. So I spent that year doing some other types of projects. I did try to take the 200 kilometer time trial record bike cycling in Norway, and then I got an injury, stress fracture in my tibia. So that took some time, and so it was. So 2020 was kind of a season that didn't really lead me anywhere. So I decided, okay, I have to give it one more proper shot. So so then in 2021, I really tried to again find the races that would suit my strengths, which was a hilly bike. So then Ironman Lanzarote, which then turned out to be my best professional race in a normal Ironman. Finished 6th or 7th there, which was the ultimate goal was always to try to qualify for Kona as a pro. And that was the race where I got closest. I think I was 10-12 minutes off Kona slot, which in my mind felt quite close, and showed me at least that I wasn't that far away from the ultimate goal that I set out to obtain, and but not close enough. So I tried once more in Ironman Switzerland, but then again I had a good performance, but that was one of those races that got a lot of attention due to huge packs on the bike, with including both triathletes and motorbikes. So one of many races getting this attention throughout the last couple of years. So I was not even close to any qualification there, and that was also basically the time where I felt like I needed some different stimulus in my life. Not only training, I wanted to use my brain a bit more, and also some social stimulus that I didn't really get, being what felt like a selfish triathlete without really any big clubs or training groups to be with, because there aren't that many of those here in Norway. So I decided to then pull the plug on the professional part of my career, and to be honest, the day that I decided, or the day that I kind of officially quit and didn't have a program that I had to follow, but could train what I wanted based on the form that I had on that day, the weather, conditions outside, I regained quite a lot of motivation again. It just kind of felt, I felt a bit free, doing whatever I wanted to do, because I was still very motivated to train, but I wanted to train what I wanted to. So that was definitely a very good decision to pull the plug on that professional part of it. And I've had a lot of fun training these past 2.5 years and competing, but on a somewhat different format than before.
Yeah, but it already showed that the Winter Triathlon World Championship 2022 no, it was in 21 even when you won in Andorra for the first time, wasn't it? Okay, so you were still a full-time professional when you won Andorra, and then at the end of 2021 you decide you're quitting the professional side of things. Yes. Okay, but then it was 2023 you became a Winter Triathlon World Champion again. So switched a little bit also to a funnier side of the sport, because road triathlon is really a lot of strict training, a lot of, as you also said, egoism. You can really take a lot of care of your surroundings, because you have to focus so much on yourself, also on your material. Nowadays it's become a very fast sport, and if you're not up there with your equipment, there's also a lot you already lose on that side. So was it when you did your first winter triathlon, was it planned, or was it also due to COVID that you said, okay, let's gonna try something different, or how did it cross your mind in the first place?
I think it was a little bit because I was again, I was a bit sick of feeling that during the winter I had to stay on the turbo trainer, even on beautiful days with perfect skiing conditions. The program said 4 hours on the turbo, and then I felt like I had to do it because I was a professional triathlete. So I was a bit sick of that, and I just felt like I needed to be able to do something else throughout the winter. And I heard about this winter triathlon, and thought that, if I can then switch the swim, which is my worst discipline, for cross-country skiing, which is probably one of my best, at least compared to other Middle Europe triathletes. I think that should, in theory, be good for me. But I had when I signed up for the race in Andorra, I had no idea whatsoever what the level would be. I heard that there was this Russian guy who had won the world champs 8 times in a row. So I was like, okay, so that's out of the question. But let's try it and see how it goes. So it was it was a very, very fun and surprising experience coming home with 2 gold medals on the individual and the relay from that first championship in Andorra.
Yeah, he really crushed everyone on the skis. I remember that race, and I think back then it was still this single format, so just run, bike, and ski, but each of the legs being much longer. And after the bike, I think you still had some time to make up, but within the first 3 or 4 kilometers on the cross country skis, you already took the lead, and then I think you won the race by 1 or 2 minutes at least, and not even putting a question mark to anything after that, and really showing Norwegians can really ski. And if more Norwegians gonna switch to winter triathlon, it's gonna be very difficult to us from Middle Europe to be up in the mix. But luckily they they adopted the format a little bit. Now it's a little bit more interesting, mixing it up a little bit more, also making the transitions more important, because we have now this double format, meaning you have to do run, bike, ski twice. So you run a little shorter, bike a little shorter, ski a little bit shorter, but then do it 2 times in a row. Which format do you prefer personally? Do you think that the new format is also cool? Maybe also thinking long term that this might also be another chance to be in the Olympic mix, because it's also a bit cooler to watch for spectators. Was the old format suited better for you?
That's a good question. When they first announced that they would have this new format, I was a bit seriously. Should we change transitions? But now that I've tried it for some years, I think I actually like it. It's more dynamic, it's more exciting, more changes to who's leading and who. It's more exciting. Both to race it's ourselves, but also to the spectators. So I think it's a good change, and definitely a needed change if this sport at some point should go become an Olympic sport.
yeah, and not only did they include this new format, but also completely new race, which is always the closing of the Winter Triathlon weekend. It's the mixed relay. That's also a very cool format. So you start with a teammate from your country, a female one, and each and every one is doing leg twice. So either the woman or the man go first, and then they change to a woman or man again, and then do the same thing again. That is actually also a very, very cool thing they included. And yeah, I hope we're getting more people in the future to join the Winter Triathlon community, also more nations. It would be really cool. Maybe also have some North Americans, Canadians joining the races. In the World Cup race in China, we also had some Mongolians, so that was also pretty cool. But just seeing more nations joining that would be really cool. So, what are we expecting from you in the next couple of years? Are you staying loyal to the Winter Triathlon, or do you have different plans, or what can we expect?
I don't have too many plans actually, but I will. If I know myself well, I believe that I will be on the start line on Winter Triathlon for some years to come. Other than that, I will probably keep on doing one Ironman a year, I would say. I always think it's fun to have at least one long distance race, either a more adventurous race like Swissman or Norseman or similar, or it could be doing a fast flat Ironman to see what kind of time I'm able to do. Ironman Copenhagen is high up on the list, for instance. And then trying to keep it interesting with doing some swim runs I've started doing a couple of years ago. I think that's quite a different and motivating challenge, and also of course probably during every autumn trying to race a marathon, see how fast I can go there. So a little bit of everything to have fun and keep it interesting. It's probably what I'll do for the next few years.
Yeah, always exciting goals, and that you are still very competitive. That already showed last year when you did Challenge Roth, which is also definitely a bucket list race from the side of the entertainment factor, going up Solar Hill, all these crowds along the courses, and that was also a very impressive race from your side, going in there with pretty much no expectations, and then winning the overall age group category in what was it, 8 hours 12 or 13. So hats off for that. And we really hope to see you on some other European races or Middle European races whenever you want to come to our region. We also have some really cool racing, also some bucket list stuff, especially Algo Triathlon has been also grown over the last couple of years. Really cool courses, lots of climbing, and also very nice scenery. So let me know if I can help you on that side. I think we can make a pretty good deal with you helping me out on Norseman, and me helping you out when you want to come race here around Germany. And also then, of course, in Winter Triathlon the next couple of years, I have to definitely step up my cross-country skiing game. Again, I already thought this year I must be a lot better because I actually went on a training camp in Norway over the Christmas holidays and was skiing for 10 days consistently, sometimes even twice, and coming back with a really good shape and thinking, okay, this year I might be a bit closer. But then, I still had a good race in China, caught COVID after that, and things didn't turn out as I wanted. So another shot next year. But yeah, it's always fun to race with you. And I'm also always really happy for the guy who wins, because it's just super fair racing. And the best competitor just is rewarded with the win. So keeps it interesting. So far, I wish you all the best for the remaining winter. It's probably going to still take a while in Norway. At least here the winter's gone completely, but luckily it looks a bit different for you. I don't know if you've planned any cross-country races or any winter races this year. But other than that, all the best for summer preparation and hope to see you around here.
Thanks a lot, Sebi. Same to you. It was a pleasure meeting you down in Italy, and I really look forward to seeing what you can do when you get out your full potential in the Winter Triathlon. I'm sure I will have quite a hard time keeping you behind, or being able to catch you on the skiing leg, which is how I see things being in the future. So it's going to be interesting, and best of luck to you too with Xterra Worlds and everything you have on your calendar.
Tusen takk, Hans, and was a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope it will also be a pleasure to a lot of listeners. Take care and talk to you soon again. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode with Hans Christian Tungesvik as much as we did. If you like the podcast and our work, we greatly appreciate donations via PayPal to the email address iaswim@web.de or positive reviews on the podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Thank you so much for your support, and now another small advertisement. Sign up for the OMNi-BiOTiC, Apfelland and Klartext Triathlon and don't miss out on these 2 races. For optimal preparation, we recommend OMNi products where you can get a 20% discount with the code Klartext20. Continue to enjoy listening, and until next time, yours truly, Alex.